Welcome back to another episode of Inside of Her C-Suite. Today we have a special episode. We're celebrating two extraordinary women today. They graced the cover of Destiny magazine, and we caught up with them at Wang Tai Inside of Santa. Guys, thank you so much for coming inside of our C-Suite.
Thank you, Timothy, for having us on your show. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Johanna, oh my God. When you were 4 years old, this woman came along. And by the time you were a teenager, she was stealing clothes from you, right? Like, so you were like her first sort of like fashion consultant.
Absolutely. I was her first taste at what fabulousness feels like or looks like. So she really went into my cupboard, stealing my punk clothes. Remember those big loop earrings? And each time I come from Varsity, my stuff is missing, But,
and she used to beat me up for that, by the way. I have to place it on record. This one used to absolutely beat me up into a pulp for stealing her clothes.
Tell me, your first sort of entrepreneurial venture, at what point did you know that this entrepreneurship thing, you're going to nail it? What was it?
Obviously I'm an accountant by profession, you know that, and I was doing my articles with KPMG, then called Aiken and Pete. I'm sure the people who are a little mature like my good self would know what Aiken and Pete is. And I was still doing continuity on Mnet, so I still had a public face or figure, whatever they call it. And I used to get headhunters calling me, offering me packages to come and work for the different big corporates. And every week it would double, and I thought to myself, I'm sure there's value in me, and I thought, why not go and be able to extract that value for myself and the benefit of the rest of South Africa, and as they say,
the rest is history. What most people don't know is that you both are global players. You're on the global boards, you're on global. For a young woman who's watching this, who dreams of just conquering the world, what sort of advice would you guys have for these young women?
I say if you can think it, you certainly can be able to achieve it. I've always said, and me and my sister obviously work very close together, our background does not define what we finally become. If you have that burning desire, you have that passion, and most importantly, you have in your makeup hard work, you certainly can be able to achieve your dreams.
It's important for young women to dare to dream. And to be absolutely conscious in being able to cultivate that vision for themselves so that they can be able to achieve. One thing I advise young women to also do is to have your own personal board. People that you seek counsel from, people that inspire you, people that stretch your thinking, and because then that begins to broaden your own vision and your own scope of understanding. And for me, it's really about owning your own future, being the master of your own destiny, and break the mold, and then you rebuild it again tomorrow. But challenge the status quo. Women have to use their voices, because the reality is the face of poverty in the continent is a female face. And women, when they're economically emancipated, we make better choices for our health, for our lives, for our children, and for the society at large. So for me, I really want to wake up to a continent, a world where women have their own voice and they can be able to use their economic emancipation for the greater good.
One of the things I love about both of you is that you're unapologetically feminine and smart. You didn't try to sort of compete on a high level trying to be a man. How do you do that while dealing with the nonsense? When men are flirting and people are not taking you as serious as you should be, how do you deal with that aggression, that nonsense?
I think, firstly, our late father, Philip, the way he raised us first as human beings. And he always used to be able to say, baby, if you can think it, you can do it. And I think from then on, the mere fact that our genetic composition is that we're women has never been able to hold us back. We've been able to be go-getters. I mean, we were 3 girls in one house. We have an elder sister, Venice B and Basi, and we have a younger brother. So he had nothing to work with but the girls. So he really had to be able to instill that. And I think because of that, we've never seen ourselves, firstly, as women and then as business people. We just, going with the natural gifts, I think God-given talents that we have. And obviously because we had this pageantry background, sadly.
Yes, we wore some tiaras in our days.
You obviously have to work hard to get rid of that pageantry look, that people should be able to take you seriously in the boardroom. I'm always said to young girls, you need to be able to be an expert in whichever industry that you're in, whichever position that you hold. In there lies the opportunity for the female part of you to dim, and that people see you for the professional that you are. And you'll see me, I mean, hello, I'm that girl with an orange dress, sharing a board, baby, but let me tell you that people are listening, because girl between the ears is ready.
And it's always been a challenge to dispel that stereotype mentality that because one was Miss South Africa, wore a bathing costume on a stage, you might not necessarily be the sharpest knife in the drawer. And often one had to work even harder, be more prepared when you go into a board meeting, be able to be, like Joe says, an absolute expert in a particular subject. And also, you're right, because Papa brought us up in that vein that we had self-confidence and self-belief from when we were kids, and we were told we mattered, that we're brilliant, that we're great. And I think it's important for parents to cultivate that mindset in their children early on, because that stands you in good stead throughout your life. But the reality is that in the boardroom, there is nothing wrong in wearing your fishnet stockings with your Louboutins and not having to wear a pinstripe suit just because you're trying to be masculine. There's some strength, big strength, I think, in femininity and owning it. And I think what matters is up here and what's in here. And once you deliver, people look at you as an equal, as a peer. Often women, we have to earn our own place around the table. But once you around the table, make sure that you bring another woman in. Don't, when you climb up the ladder, kick the ladder down, honey, so somebody else must not follow in your footsteps. So it's about creating a movement of women who can be able to ultimately make, it must be a norm to hear that there's a female president in South Africa.
Re-engineering the whole system.
It's that mindset. You really have to reprogram society in women's role and responsibilities in the corporate world, in business.
I think through our company Travel Flair, we obviously employ 85% women. Most of our managers,
85%?
85% of our staff complement is women. And let me tell you one better. We have the highest staff retention in the travel industry. And you know why? If a woman is looked after, she has an opportunity to be able to grow. She is respected. Women are loyal and women stay. And let me tell you, a lot of corporations where you've seen the success, where a woman is a leader, is precisely because, we're more nurturing in the environment. And other women as well, because we lead by example, they like working for us, and hence people stay because you know that there is growth. I've had people ask us, but you guys do so much training for your staff, and they are scared to train their people in their own businesses because they feel people leave. And I said, but people will always leave you if they cannot be able to grow within your environment, So
I mean, even in my television business as a producer, content specialist, I employ predominantly 99.99% of women. And I make no apologies about that. And it's how we can use our platforms and our areas and spheres of influence to bring in a whole new generation of young women who we can pass on the baton to, and they can be able to continue to run the race and finish even stronger than where we started.
Just quickly, you guys are both passionate about giving back. You've got foundations. How do you choose sort of vulnerable kids? I saw in your foundation you want to give back to vulnerable kids. Why choose there? What was the thinking behind it?
If it wasn't for our upbringing, because we are very blessed and fortunate to have parents who nurtured us, who loved us, who gave us an education, and hopefully we've turned out decent members of society, and equally so, I'm passionate about children because we have a responsibility to give them an opportunity to have a decent future. And child-headed households, in particular in South Africa, is really my key focus area because of the scourge of HIV/AIDS. A lot of children are raising children, and it will be an indictment on us as parents of those children because you're raising a nation in essence when you have opportunities, because to whom much is given, much is expected, and therefore to be able to give them an opportunity to go to school, to have food on the table, to have clothes on our back, a roof over their heads. That's what our foundation predominantly focuses on, my husband and I.
And then personally, I think I'm obviously the chairperson of the Salvation Army, where we look after a home for 60 abused and abandoned girls. And for me, I'm just always mindful that the girl child has never had that upfront opportunity. And especially these girls come from broken homes, and we've got incredible testimonies where we've looked after them, we've put them through tertiary, we've employed back into our business Travel with Flair, and they've become their own independent individuals. And for me, I think that it's truly remarkable. And I just love it because I think for me personally, it's one of those things that gives me a sense of purpose and makes the success understandable, because it is for this reason that we have been given.
Now imagine one of these girl childs you're working with, empowering, on the cover of Destiny one day. Can you see it?
I see it.
Guys,
It is so clear.
this is I've written a column for this magazine for 8 years, and this is by far my
I love
favorite.
your column, by the way.
Thank you.
And your book. I've got your book,
Oh wow, thank you.
and I've read it.
This is my favorite cover, and I'm not just saying it. I love the color, I love the smile, I love everything about it. What does it mean to you, though? What does this cover mean to you? You guys have been on hundreds of magazines. Both of you been on it independently, but together. What does this mean?
For me, I look at this cover, and even when we had an opportunity to see it before it hit the shelves, it says grace. Because our success, truly, from where we were brought up, a God-fearing, God-loving family, is that everything that we are and have achieved is not because we're super special, but it's because of divine grace of God upon our lives. And so the divine favor that we know, and it's an unmerited favor, that we sit here today at this beautiful dinner on the cover of Destiny, baby.
Right? Together, like.
Feel me? And I think from my side, it just shows that genuine friendship between sisters can be also financially successful. And I think that's one thing that should be merited, because a lot of people, the business relationships fall apart when the few rands come on the table. But we've been partners nearly 20 years, because we've had our company for that long, and it's been an incredible, respectful journey. And I think she agrees as well, that it's probably because of the way our parents have raised us and the love that we've really enjoyed. And for me, I just think that it's beautiful that two young girls that come from the dusty streets of Soweto, with the kind of background that we have, can be global, genuine players. I mean, our company, Travel with Flair, now is known as the single largest independently owned agency in the whole of Africa. And that is truly commendable. Started really, really, truly humble beginnings. Where there's love, where there's respect, where there is God and hard work, it's all a beautiful ingredient for great success.
Guys, thank you so much for coming on Inside of Her C-Suite.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate it. We'll be back next week with another episode of Powerful Women Shaping Africa. I'm Timothy Maurice.